One of Zebec's key partner just recently achieved such a monumental milestone. I'm talking about Circle. Did you know that Circle recently received final US approval to launch its own national trust bank? Why does this matter? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though this is just my personal perspective, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Circle is not only a partner when it comes to Zebec, but actually it holds quite a big amount of Zebec in terms of its token. Furthermore, Circle is a key backer when it comes to Zebec. Let's also not forget this, right? Zebec is a Circle Alliance program member. Furthermore, Circle is publicly listed, and literally it created one of the biggest things out there within this space. And I'm talking about USDC. Circle is the creator of that. So let's just let that sink in for a second. Now, people like to say, well, how would this even affect Zebec in any sort of way, basically? Well, again, just like I mentioned before, right? Something that is a backer when it comes to Zebec, a key partner when it comes to Zebec as well, right? And something that holds a quite big amount of Zebec just recently achieved something so monumental. So of course that indirectly could really affect Zebec moving forward. It's kind of like, as the old saying goes, right? A high tide raises all ships. So again, if let's say one of Zebec's key partners achieves something so monumental like that, it automatically could bring Zebec along with the ride. Because now what Zebec could do is that it has a better sort of angle. It has a better sort of conversation starter with many potential partners, because they can mention and say that, hey, you know what? Circle, one of our key partners, take a look at what it recently achieved. Not only did they do that, but they also hold quite a big amount of Zebec. So let's just let that sink in. This could be such a massive tool for Zebec to use moving forward, especially in conversations, in meetings. This could really give Zebec a lot more sort of perceived, I guess, good fundamentals. Because if Circle keeps on improving, if Circle keeps doing its thing, it automatically could trickle down to something like Zebec. And let's just also let this sink in. The post that I'm showing on the screen is actually by Jeremy Allaire, right? Now, Jeremy, he is the CEO and co-founder of Circle. So again, we just got to let this sink in sometimes. When it comes to Circle, again, if we take a look at it, the OCC has granted final approval for Circle National Trust, giving the company, which again is Circle, a national charter focused on digital asset infrastructure. So that's pretty legendary. And again, what this basically does is that it's going to give more validation to not only Circle, but indirectly it's going to affect something like Zebec. So when people like to say, wow, Zebec is doing so bad as of right now, take a look at it. It's still over 2 times lower than its peak last year in terms of market cap. I get all that. But we sometimes don't really consider just how massive this is when it comes to Zebec. This could only help Zebec moving forward, at least in my opinion. This is going to automatically affect Zebec's super app. It's going to affect the way it does its payrolls now, because now, if let's say they want to have more payroll enterprise clients, they can point to this. That's the thing. And Zebec, we take a look at its ongoing partnership with World Liberty. That's pretty impressive, right? We take a look at Zebec's partnership with Ripple, with Stellar, with Circle. If any of Zebec's key partners, including Algorand, by the way, which is also one of Zebec's partners, if any of them has something good happen to it, it automatically could bring Zebec kind of along with the ride. That's the thing. So it's not such a bad, I guess, occasion that Circle recently achieved final US approval to launch its own national trust bank. So we got to just let that sink in. Zebec has this track record of having these partnerships and then eventually their partners achieving amazing things. I'm not joking. Take a look at Zebec partnering up with Algorand, right? Not that long ago. And then Algorand, not long after that, was the 3rd most mentioned blockchain in Google's quantum paper. It only lost out to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's just let that sink in. And then also on top of that, now we take a look at Circle achieving this amazing monumental achievement. That could only help Zebec. So yeah, sure, I mean, Zebec may be low as of right now, but the fundamentals, I think, are way better than last year and even the year before. Its key partnerships with Ripple, Stellar, Circle, and Algorand, this could really matter for Zebec, especially moving forward if the market were to recover. But that's the key word, if, right? It doesn't mean the market will, but if it does, if Zebec exceeded what it did last year, wouldn't surprise me at all, just considering how much Zebec has improved fundamentally. Last year, the market cap peaked at around 540 million. As of right now, Zebec's market cap is around 225. If it could exceed that moving forward, wouldn't surprise me if the market were to recover, just because all these fundamental improvements that I'm seeing when it comes to Zebec as of late. Zebec is also so close to actually launching the mobile version of the super app. They've already done the desktop version, but the mobile version is so close just because it's waiting for approval from the App Store and the Play Store. So when people like to say, oh, Zebec's not doing anything, I don't agree with that. Zebec, they've been doing a lot of things lately, and I'm a little bit curious to see what they could do moving forward, but this video is mostly centered around Zebec's key partner officially achieving such a monumental milestone, which I think could greatly affect Zebec moving forward. However, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward when it comes to Zebec. I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very wonderful and fantastic day.